Namaste and welcome to another episode of A Questioning Mind. Today, I am very pleased to have the very lovely Suzanne Bernert with me. Suzanne is a relative, I know you know Suzanne most likely. She's a very famous actor, and she was one of the first people to wish me well when I started the podcast. And I'm so happy that, I have her here on the channel today. Suzanne, a very warm welcome to you.
थैंक यू नमस्ते। ये खुशी की बात है कि मैं अभी इतने सारे लोग वो ट्विटर में मिली, अभी रियल लाइफ या ऑन स्क्रीन मिल सकते हैं।
बिल्कुल। I'm just going to start with some, basic questions because I want you to talk about your story and how you came to be you. so, uh, uh, Suzanne, how did you get into cinema? What made you choose that as a means of expressing?
Acting happened to me. I wanted to be an actor from the age of 4. If you believe my parents, they were saying that from the age of 4, I used to strut around and say, I'm going to be an actor. And I was making them watch puppet theater and all that kind of stuff. And they saw a yearning for it. So they tried to get me into like play groups and acting in school and these kinds of things. And then dancing was also there. I love to dance. So I was doing performances at that time as well. Sometimes being like having these experiences where you come and you're like, I was 13 or 14 and there was this big song, Dirty Dancing. And so the guy on stage, he was saying, where's the rest of your troupe? And I was like, it's only me. And I was performing in front of a crowd of 500-600 people. And he was like, yeah, we will see. And basically people, I had to give 3 encores until I was so exhausted, I backed out of it. I said, I can't do anymore. So there was a lot of appreciation and love at that time already. And then for some years, due to personal reasons, I put it on the back burner. And then when I shifted to Berlin from Asia, I lived in Taiwan and South Korea, and I came back to Berlin. Or actually, first time Berlin. It just feels like home. And there, the whole acting happened. I met people. They saw my model portfolio. They said, "You're too strong to be a model. You should look more into acting." And I was like, "Yes, yes, please." And then people guided me, and I found a teacher, and she was teaching me not because she needed to teach to make money, but she teaches people where she sees a possibility that they will work in life. Because we have enough unemployed actors, and I always said, I don't want to be one of those people that at a certain age looks back at her life and says, "Oh God, why did I do this?" So that was one of the hindrances I had. So I took 3 years classes with her, acting classes with her. Got my stage debut online. That was one of the first online things. Yeah, somebody was looking for an actress online for a play near my parents in South in Bavaria. And I messaged them, had an audition there, and they took me. So that's where I had my stage debut. Then I went on a holiday to Dubai after that. Saw another online ad where they were looking for the best friend of the main actress in a, I can't say Bollywood, it was a love story. It was set in Dubai. The filmmaker Anand Doseja, he believed that he wants to make a movie only with people from Dubai. So he got all kinds of people together, got a lot of support from the locals as well, like from a coffee shop, from designers, from this, that. So, and I met him and he casted me for the best friend of the lead. And later he couldn't get a good actress for the lead. And then he made it a German-Indian love story and I became the lead character. And it's streaming. You can actually see it on Tubi, and in some countries you can see it on Amazon, and it's called Destined Hearts. And that was my debut film. And through that, I met so many Indians because Anand Tuseja was an Indian. The guy opposite me, Nikhil, he was an Indian. Then you meet more and more people. And then when my parents were asking, so have you learned some Arabic? And I said, no, Hindi. So they were very confused. You are in Dubai. Why did you learn? Why are you learning Hindi? What is that? What's going on? So that was my first touch and my first, instant love with everything and everybody from India. I didn't feel strange. I didn't feel like a foreigner or anything when I was with a group of Indian actors or Indian industry people in Dubai. I never felt like I'm the odd one out. And when I heard Hindi, I kept on thinking, I should understand this. This sounds so familiar. So that was the song. And I got an
But
offer from one of those people I worked there. Was directing a movie there. Stop. I did a very tiny cameo in it, and from there he invited me to play Catherine in Astudva Ek Prem Kahani, what we shot in England and we shot
yes.
in Mumbai. And that was a big thing to get. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Then I saw Prithvi Theatre in Mumbai. It's a wonderful little theatre. And I said, I want to do a play here. That's how I met my husband. So it's just like, it just happened. It just happened. It was not planned.
That's a very. I think your the name of your first film, Destined Hearts, sounds like a lot like your story. So,
Oh,
right. So how do you? You said that you find everything in India. You fit in very well. How did that happen? Like you met some Indians, and then you came to the country. You met your husband here. But in terms of the cultural fit, how different is it from your life prior to this? And how do you find yourself fitting in?
I don't know why it was easy. It was not, I didn't have like a culture shock or such a shock. I lived in South Korea for 4 years.
Right.
Well, it was a growing love affair, but it was never that I had a lot of contact with local people. I was just liking it there. I was just living there as an expat and I really liked it. Then I was in Taiwan, what was a really hard time for me. That was not, I was modeling there and
Yes.
I was the only model in a Chinese agency. So I was like
Right.
obviously odd duckling and they're very strict and you can get yelled at and you have to take it. And it's a whole
What?
different mindset there. Yeah, yeah, yes. You make a mistake in the show and nobody speaks English and it was all in Chinese and I learned Chinese for 3 months, but that's not sufficient to live there. So
Mm-hmm.
and then I came here and I remember on the plane looking out and the sun was setting and I was looking out and I was thinking my life will change and it did. I just didn't know why and I didn't know how. Sometimes you get these gut feelings and I landed and I never felt odd or weird. Of course, there are tough situations. Of course, if you end up at my other big show that I studied then was Balaji. So if you end up in Kasauti Zindagi Ki and you're
Right.
working 12, 14,
That's right.
16 hours and you have this kind of circumstances, the biggest things were like heat. Heat is a problem for me, but I think everybody's having that issue. And food.
Yes.
I have to be very careful what I eat, where I eat, and I have to be very
Uh,
precise. I can't just eat set का खाना ये बिल्कुल नामुमकिन है बिल्कुल नहीं खा सकती हूँ मिर्ची भी नहीं खा सकती हूँ and
oh.
it's not because I don't like it it's because my body doesn't like it my tummy doesn't like it so I can have it here and the thing is I was eating spicy in South Korea they
Uh-huh.
use green chili I like kimchi and I don't know what it is here maybe it's a garam masala and it's not even the
Uh-huh.
mirchi in
Uh-huh.
itself
Right.
कुछ ना कुछ तो है खाने में मैं बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सकती हूँ I
Right.
don't know why it is
Southern Indian food should be more suitable. I mean, it can get very spicy, but if you're just having the non-spicy sambar and Karnataka, actually, we add people add jaggery to the sambar. I don't like it personally, but yeah, and Gujarati food is also non-spicy. So,
Yeah. I
uh,
just see a trend that over the last couple of years, since I'm here, more and more food is being spiced up.
ah,
Like,
well, it's definitely something that we do use a lot of spices, but I am also not very fond of. I prefer a more blended variety of food as well. So I get that. But I've actually had Australian friends come over, and they used to dare each other that if you don't complete something, then you have to have this one single green chili just without anything. It's not in food. That was their dare, and they did it. Mostly they used to have dosa, but then they used to do these dares, and it was very shocking to me because obviously most Indians would also not be doing that. So, I mean, actually, a lot of them do. A lot of us do have chili and onion with food, like
yeah.
just bunch it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
my
they.
friend Nandita, every time we are somewhere, she always needs some. She always orders green chilies extra, no
Right.
matter what she orders. And I'm joking, saying, you haven't ordered any green chilies. And she said, we're having coffee and dessert. I said, yeah, so. She is so notorious for always having
Right.
green chili with everything. Yeah.
So a lot of us do that actually, but can't. So yeah, moving on from food to more cinema. What do you think of the shift from from cinema to OTT? The whole method of creation has a method of distribution has changed rapidly.
Yeah, I
I
did.
think it's been in the last 3 4 years that it's really picked up steam.
Yeah, because the lockdown has forced it upon us. I think people were
Right.
watching more content online and they still do that. So big movies are having a tough time to get people into the cinemas. That doesn't mean they don't go. There are certain movies like Kerala Story or any big blockbuster. Usually they get their audience. I think it's more difficult for smaller movies because
Right.
you don't even get to know that they're out there. OTT is definitely the future. I don't see that going anywhere. I have worked OTT, and it is a mix. It feels like a slow TV show, like you're shooting TV, but with a touch of movie and not the hectic thing that you're having with TV. TV is very time constrained because they're always shooting like what we're shooting now might come next day. And with the OTT platform, you can literally shoot it like a movie and then
Mm.
release it. And it's different. It's like a glossy TV if it's well done. But also some movies that are coming out, they just look like a TV show being shot. Like it always depends who makes it and how they make it. Yeah. Like I just Asur released, and
Right.
that was my first job that I signed after the lockdown. So it
Oh.
was a 4-day shoot, they were saying, and the character very important, blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay, in English, I haven't done that. Let me do that. And that was in March 2021. I shot in Jan 2022, and it released now. And I don't know if that's normal. I find OTT platforms, it takes a lot of time until stuff comes out.
Ah.
And but the
Okay.
experience was very nice, very high profile.
That's very interesting. I think a lot of folks would not know that difference. That when you shoot for a film, it's when it's going to release, when it's going to come
Mm.
out, and with OTT, you don't really have that clarity immediately.
Yeah,
So
Sonakshi Sinha's, my friend is in it, Abhishek Bhalarao, and he shot this show called Dahat, I think.
Daha,
Dahat.
yeah,
Dahat.
yeah.
And so they shot that in 2020. It came out now.
Wow. Okay, that was shot in 2020.
Yes, that was one of the shows that was shot in that whole lockdown with the bubble, with the protective bubble where people, like, if you were in a unit, only the unit can act in, like, only a certain amount of people are allowed. And you had to go
Mm.
for tests all the time and stuff. But I didn't dare. I didn't work in lockdown at all.
It's interesting because you see the amount of content coming out on OTT, and you'd assume that things just get done very rapidly, but it's the opposite,
I don't know.
right?
I was in another show called Kabhi Par. Nee,
Uh-huh.
Arya Par. We changed it to Arya Par. That was the debut show of Parish Rawal's son. And my character is in the end because we're coming in season two, if there's a season two. And so we were just there for 1 day shoot was really good. I enjoyed that as well. And that I shot last year in May and it came out now in December. So it's not sometimes it also depends. And I know that Asur was supposed to come out on Root, now it's in Geo Cinema.
It's all I think a matter of distribution, production, who allows it, who makes a better bid, I suppose.
Yeah,
I
who
have.
gets it in the end? Because I don't think because when I shot it, they wanted my voice, my accent, the way I am. And then suddenly last year around October, November, they started saying, no, we need to dub you. We need somebody else with an American accent. So actually,
Ah,
my friend Sabrine, who's an actress from Canada, she has dubbed me. Very well done.
ah,
But I
okay.
was like, there is a slight problem if somebody does that. If you
Ah,
are acting in a different accent, your syntax is different.
true, true.
You talk different. So I was just with my German, English, Hindi, whatever my accent is. I don't know what it is right now. So I was just using my normal voice, like what we're talking right now. And she said later to me she had a hard time matching certain parts to it
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because of it has a
That's
different rhythm. And I see that happens. You are doing something in a certain accent, and then in dubbing, अच्छा can you just put अभी ये कुछ accent चाहिए या कौन से accent चाहिए या कुछ अलग चाहिए लेकिन आपने तो कहा मेरी आवाज ठीक है नहीं I want we can we have a British accent ऐसा ये तो बिल्कुल नहीं मेरा बस का नहीं है because it needs practice.
of
Accent
course.
is not something that you can just like Sonia Gandhi
Right,
accent. We worked very long on that. It took
right,
me months to get into that character. It is not
right.
something that you can just like shake out of your sleeve. And also when people are saying, "Can you do a sentence like that?" I said, "No, I can't because I'm not on a set. There's no camera. I don't have a get up. I'm not in the mental space." And that's the
Mm-hmm.
difference between doing a parody and doing acting. For acting, you need to go into a character, and for parody, you can just, it's like exaggeration. You just do something louder.
Right. Right. True. Uh, that's interesting, actually. So I have a good friend who makes short films, and we saw one part of the film being dubbed. Uh, just, I think there was some issue with the recording of the voice and all of that. I noticed that the throw of the voice is very different. Like when it's dubbed, if it's not dubbed by somebody, I mean, it has to be dubbed very accurately to have that because
It's
just
not
the
even
start.
it's not even the technicalities because what happens is if you say it the same way you said it in the shot, they can punch it. They can make it according the sound recordist who sits there. He can take it and actually make it fit. You don't have to be perfect.
Hmm.
There are some recordists who want you to do that because it means they don't have to do the job. But nowadays technology is like that you can do it the way you have felt it on screen, and then they're squeezing it if there's a 2 seconds up down. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's perfect. Second, what I don't like about dubbing is no matter how much I feel it and then no matter how much I'm in the scene, it is not coming across the same way. I'm shivering or I'm crying or I'm doing every emotion exactly like in the scene. I'm going back into the scene. But when you
Mm,
have some
mm.
training, it's not difficult. You just go back into the scene, you reenact it, and you're just putting the same kind of emotional content into it. And then you
True.
hear yourself like, "Are yaar, ye na."
Uh,
I'm
that's
always
exactly what I like.
disappointed.
That
I'm
throw is
always
very different when you feel that, and I think it comes through on screen as well. That you're acting a certain way, but you're not sounding like exactly the way you're acting.
yeah,
Sometimes it is like that.
especially in
So,
emotional scenes. Normal
right.
scenes is not such a big issue, but I think emotional scenes are always getting the um, yeah. And we have sync sound now, and I know you can have amazing sync sound if you have the right person to do it because Akil shot with Sean Bennigan for Well Done Abba, and
Mhm.
there was a sync sound guy and there was a train going, and Aki was asking him if that is not disturbing. And he said, "No, I can filter that out." So I think
Yeah.
it depends on the person who's doing it because there are other people who will tell you, "No, it has to be like super quiet and there can't be any rustling and there can't be any noise and all that is going on." So I think it depends on the equipment and the artist who tapes it.
Interesting. So, how was your experience playing Sonia Gandhi? How was your research? What did you think about the character? About your portrayal of her?
As a research, they give the production house was giving folders to each and every one of us certain videos that scenes were recreated as well in the movie. So we had like pakka scenes that we were just doing, recreating them. And I was just watching the videos again and again and again and again because I was trying to find something who's very guarded as a person. You will never see her lose her temper or show any emotion or be. So there are just tiny ticks that you need to pay utmost attention that you can catch something like that. And we had look tests, and it takes time. It takes 2.5 hours to transform me. Most of it is wig. The wig is very important
Right.
because the wig is changing my face shape because it has to start somewhere around here, and I have like a whoops, I have a different forehead, and there was some magic about the glasses. The moment I was putting on the glasses, I became her. Without the glasses, I was just a black-haired woman in a sari, and the moment I put the glasses on, the character came together. And if you talk to other actors, there's sometimes this magical item that makes the
Right,
character
right,
totally.
right, right.
And
Yeah,
I had a great time shooting it. We shot in England in a
mm,
castle, like a lot of scenes. We were shooting there, and we shot in Delhi. And when you walk around Ingatam in Delhi and you have bodyguards for the actress, and people automatically think you might be the real deal. So I was walking down the hall in the Imperial, and people were actually gasping, going step back, or opening the door, shutting it again, seeing me. And I was too much into character to react to any of this. I was in character already, walking to my scene. And I remember this. There was this whole ballroom full of like 300 junior art, like people who were playing gas in that interview that Sonia Gandhi was giving at that time. So I was coming in, and the whole room got like drop dead silence.
ah,
So you get an idea of the power.
right.
You do get an idea of the power behind it. And
Mm.
I was trying to be very authentic, not trying to do any parody, not trying to be exaggerating anything. I was just trying to be very subtle and very normal and very on the point.
Mm.
So, role of a lifetime.
Right, absolutely, absolutely.
And there were people
What?
predicting it actually. When I was doing Queen Helena, some people were predicting in their tweets online where they were saying in 2016, if anybody ever makes this book into a movie, Sanjay Babu's book, then she should play Sonia Gandhi, and it happened.
Wow, that's pretty cool because I think Tom Holland is well known for having manifested a lot of things. When he was younger, he wanted to play Spider Man, and that's what he's doing. He wanted to. He had a crush on Zendaya, and that's what he's dating. So yeah. What would be your? So I asked about OTTs actually as a yeah, there was a limited number of films coming out every year previously. Do you think that having OTT as a medium has increased the chances of actors getting noticed, more actors coming through, and a wider range of actors being considered main protagonists? Um,
It would be the ideal. I can't really say. I have a feeling that when I came here, it used to be that my husband could go to a producer's place and to a director, meet them directly, talk about projects, and being considered for parts. And then everything started going more into channel hand and channel hand, and from channel hand, it became into casting people hand, and now everything is with casting people. So
oh,
many a times I'm asking myself if the auditions that anybody is giving are actually reaching the people who are
oh, it's
wanting to cast somebody, because you can't tell me that you can give hundreds of auditions and then you never being considered. That's not possible. So I don't want to. It's not a shayantra or anything, but I have the feeling that the direct contact has completely gone because you can't go to a director anymore because it's not in his hand anymore.
mm, mm,
Very
yeah.
rare that a director, he has to be very big to say, I want this kind of person. It is not in his hand anymore. And there's always a discussion. I had a show when the channel was telling me, we were fighting for you, we wanted you. And the producer was saying, no, I was fighting for you, I wanted you. And what is the truth? I don't know. So
Mm.
it got,
Interesting.
I think maybe for if they're trying to get new content, new people, new actors into the limelight, maybe it works, maybe it's good, but it is, I don't know. I really can't say because I'm also the special case of being a foreigner here
Mm, mm, mm.
who can act
Um,
anywhere. So it's
right.
different for me. I'm not. going to these big auditions, and I don't
Mm.
know what the process is there. And everything has, a lot of it has shifted to online auditions. Like you get the script, you shoot it yourself, you send it to someone.
It's interesting. I'm pretty sure a lot of folks don't know that, but it kind of plays into the whole, Netflix and its formulaic creations. Those are very well known and being discussed that they have a formula. That's the kind of content they want to push, and they cut any show, even if it's making money or something, as long as it does not fit the formula, Netflix might not go ahead with that. That's something that was discussed. And then they create a ton of these shows that fit a particular formula. And if you see their Christmas movies, right, they're all very similar, and
Yeah.
they attempt to become the new Hallmark of sorts. It's not like
Mhm.
Hallmark, but still, but there's a lot of these things that have been discussed. But I'm pretty sure what you said is not something that most people would know about, the back end system, back end of these, because what we see is just a lot more content.
I have
So
people who coming to me and say, "Why don't you work more? Why don't you try this? Why don't you try that?" I said, "I have to sit and wait for somebody to approach me
right,
because
right.
it's not like it used to be." Akil, I remember that in 2006, 7, he was taking me from one producer to the other, from one director to the other, and leaving my pictures there and talking to people. Maybe not the person himself, but somebody in the office. Now you can't do that anymore because it's not in their hands anymore. It's all going through casting agents, and then they're having their own funder. They have their own people they push. They have their own idea who should be in front of the camera. And a lot of them are also actors. They want to be
Mm.
actors. So that's
Mm-hmm.
another thing that's happening. Plus, social media. I had this discussion with Nidhi on my channel about being casted according to your followers on Instagram. That's also a thing. Like how many followers you have, and people are casting you according to that, and they don't care if it's fake followers or real followers. They just want to see a big number there. So if that's the case, then that's the end of talent, I think. So I was also hopeful that OTT will open up platform or open doors, especially for my husband, who's such a talented guy who does this understated acting that you see in OTT platform in a lot of series. He would fit in tremendously. And people keep on asking him, "Why don't you work after Three Idiots?" And he's like, "Yeah, I would need somebody to like actually want me." So he's
Mm.
done I don't know how many auditions, and there's never a callback. What happens is in an audition process, somebody calls you, is super excited, pitches a story to you, is like jumping through the phone. Once the audition yesterday, yeah. Then they send you a script. You go through the script, you shoot the whole thing, you send it back to them. You might get an acknowledgement, you might not, and then they disappear. You
Oh,
might hear from them, or you might never ever hear from them. So that kind of I don't think that people know that actors go through this all the time.
right. No,
It's
no,
not
I
like,
don't think we
"Oh,
do.
sorry, it didn't work out." No, there is no, "I'm sorry, it didn't work out." It is like, "I'm gone. I disappeared. I was jumping on you. I was after you live to shoot it, and I'm after you live to send me, and then I will not acknowledge it, and I disappear, and you will never hear of me again. Unless they want you."
So, you've moved. You do a lot of vlogging. You do talk shows on YouTube now. I will link the channel down below as well.
Yes,
Um,
please.
so, what made you choose that? Like, you just enjoy being in front of the camera, exploring topics that you like, or does this help with anything else?
It is as an actor, you have a creative urge. And nowadays, the fun thing is that you just need a phone and some lights, or even in the beginning, we didn't have the lights, and you can make what you want to make to some extent. So it is, we feel good when we do something. We feel like, oh, and this video got a good reaction, this video got a good reactions, and we always answer people in comments, and we want to have discussions about what we're doing. So it's that kind of a thing that it's a creative output where nobody else tells me what to wear, what to do, how to
Right.
be, what
Right.
to, it's just in our hands. We can do it. Or Akil tells me you should blah, 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 or I tell blah, 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 blah. So we are just guiding that our own. So I think the creative freedom the
Nice.
liberty to do it the way you want to, shoot it the way you want to, edit it the way you want to. And
Mm.
that's fun. That's really fun and addictive. You keep on wanting to do more. And I started the talk show because I kept on thinking about it, and then I heard about Natalie who traveled by bicycle from France to India for Safe Soil. And I said, oh, that would be an amazing topic to have on my channel. So I had her on my channel. I talked about it. Then I had Renz, who's also Safe Soil. Then I had some Dinesh, who is fighting flight anxiety, who's a pilot, and he's a retired Indian Armed Forces officer. So you met all these people, and it got a life on its own. I was thinking maybe I can do like once a month, and now I'm doing every Sunday one. And I love stories, the stories that people are telling, the things that you hear, and they might not get another platform somewhere else.
Mm.
It's a selfish thing. I want to talk to people, hear their stories, and get to know stuff.
No, the stories is exactly why even I started because, and honestly, I had no idea. People would say, yes, I've been very lucky. In the beginning, I was like, who do I ask? Because I don't, you would have a platform, but somebody like me, I haven't really got a following or something. But folks just said yes. I like a book. I asked the author, do you want to talk? And they said yes. So that was very nice. Like you were very kind and you said yes. Vikram Sood, the former chief of RAW, said yes. Sudhanshu Mani, the architect of the Vande Bharat Express, said yes. And it's such a small channel and everybody's so humble. And that's been very nice to, have them have you discuss these things. I'm very grateful. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, it is interesting who all says yes. Yeah, I find it's probably easier to get Vikram Sood than an actor on the show.
True,
I
true.
think because actors all always like, oh, how many followers you're having, how many people are watching it, and so it's
Yeah.
connected to that. And somebody like me or somebody else you invited, they just want to get their message out. They just want to talk and they want to reach more people. And I think that is very lovely. It's a great thing to do.
It does speak to who we have as heroes as well, who are the influencers. If suddenly I do see a shift in a more intellectual, I think a lot of authors are gaining a lot more prominence, so that's nice actually. Like people, I think Ranveer Allahabadia on his channel, he has a very large variety, right? He has actors, and then he has people like Mr. Sood or people like Sanjeev Sanyal. So you have authors and then you have actors as well, and sometimes the authors receive a lot more viewership. So that's
Yeah.
been an interesting shift in the country because I don't think you would see this 10 years ago or 15 years
No,
ago.
you
This was
wouldn't.
not the
I
case.
feel the same way. I feel the same way. Like the people you can meet on Twitter alone. I mean, I've been following Jaipur Dialogues and per se Vibhuti Jha, and we just met him. He was
Oh,
in Mumbai. We met him for a dinner, and it was so nice. And he was excited to meet us because we're actors. We were excited to meet him, and he said, "Why are you excited to meet me?" I said, "Because we know you. We listen to you." So you have these kinds of talks. You get to meet people that you are resonating with, that are opening you up for more in your mind and
hmm.
broaden your horizon. You have intelligent conversations, and you don't have to search for them in your surroundings because probably they're not there.
Right, right.
Like the people around you are usually not the ones that are doing that to you. So
Exactly.
thanks to social media and thanks to YouTube and all these things, we can have these chats, and it's a delight.
No, Twitter has been an eye opener. Honestly, it's given me a lot of opportunities. It's how I got discovered, so to speak, to write. to be a columnist. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and I can finally do it. And it's only because, Twitter. So, no, it's true because a lot of the topics that we really resonate with or want to discuss are not things that maybe our neighbors or colleagues may not really be discussing those things. So people that we do admire, Twitter has made it very easy that they might reply to you. They might actually
Yeah.
respond. So that's very, very cool. But yeah, I think you're right that it's Twitter and then through that YouTube that has opened up a lot of these spaces. Do you think that YouTube would become like a TV thing? I know YouTube TV is something that some countries, I think they're playing with it in some countries. And I remember seeing, a couple of things. Liza Koshy was somebody they used to make some series. Do you see Twitter and, YouTube in India, having that kind of TV becoming an alternative for TV?
I ooh, can't really say where stuff is going in the future, because I find YouTube is the one place where you can search for content and you search something specific and you get it.
Hmm.
And TV is entertainment, like whatever that's more like a web series and content that I'm wanting to listen to in my relaxation time. And YouTube always gives me the feeling of learning.
Oh, no, there's a lot of entertaining content there as well. I think I followed quite a few comedians. I think
Mm.
yes, those are skits that do well on Instagram and YouTube. It's extreme. A lot of it is parody, right? All of those exaggerated things that probably won't want to see on screen. So the
Mm.
creative freedom allows for them to post it on YouTube and Instagram. And yeah, it can be entertaining. I'm just wondering because, I did not realize these OTT issues that go on behind the scenes. What the consumer gets is a large variety of content. And considering all the, issues that you and Akhil and I'm sure that thousands of actors actually go through these days, maybe YouTube is an easier, you have a lot more control there. So,
Yeah, you have control, but you're also fighting constantly this thing called algorithm, because you don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
one.
that is.
I can show very funny videos I was watching more, like talk analytics. The watch time is much longer than what we usually get, but it's not recommended at all by YouTube. Now they recommend another video of ours, and then the average goes down because recommendation means some people just watch it for 5 seconds and they jump away. Yeah, so that happens. So I don't understand what catches them, because both the videos have the same length. Which one, by what criteria they go? Yeah, I really do not understand why some videos that I am sure, because the content is amazing, it's really good, it's really well done, and it's going, and some that I'm just doing on the spur of the moment, they go like boom, and
Mm.
there's no rhyme no reason behind it if I look at the analytics. Like, so all these people are saying, I know Pakka how to make this, I know Pakka how to do this. I'm like, okay, Pakka, I have no clue what you're doing.
Then that is true because social media algorithms are so fickle. They change all the time, and I know I've followed some content creators because I was interested in YouTube some years ago, and I know they keep an extreme track of how these days. So, for example, thumbnails matter a lot, right? And
Yes, they do.
I did not pay that much attention to it, but recently what I started doing was kind of copying the thumbnails of the people that I like to watch and using some of those styles. I noticed, for example, that adding a fire in the background helps get views. I have no idea why that is. So somebody else said that having a very depressed look, like he was actually asked why is he always crying on his thumbnails, and the titles are extremely clickbaity while the content is educational. And he said that that's what works. We've tried having me smile and be normal,
Yeah,
educational looking, but
yeah,
it does not work. Like if you have the sad face and an animated teardrop, it
Yeah.
really works on the thumbnail. So that gets a
Okay,
lot
that's true.
more
I
views.
found out stupid. Now, when I'm thinking about stupid expressions work well. Me doing
Oh yes, yes,
that works.
exactly. Or just sad. A lot of like, exaggerated sadness. So
Oh
that
God.
works. That I just noticed a few trends were like having very big arrows pointing somewhere, something on the screen, a very big arrow. There's a fire background and sad faces. So I'm trying to incorporate these things. I just noticed the pattern in every one of the videos that I've done well for these channels that I follow, they have these things. So I decided that okay, let me try it. And I am not kidding you. The first thumbnail that I tried, I got a lot of compliments as well immediately. And people were tuning in, even though it was a subject they did not really want to. They didn't stick around after that, but they were, viewing it a lot. And YouTube pushed it. So it's a very weird thing, but I
Amazing.
know people put a lot of effort into figuring out the algorithm, and you think that they're just talking to you, but behind the scenes they've actually done a lot of studying. So it can't just be the creation aspect. It's not the
Hmm.
creativity part. It's the whole um the algorithm dictates too much, so I guess there's less creative freedom than we assume also in on social media. In a way, that is we have more control, but it's not that free. So
I just realized today that Instagram has taken out hashtags. Like they used to show all the hashtags. Every picture under any topic, hashtag so and so was showing up. Today I realized that if it is not a top post, it won't show up. They don't show all the pictures anymore. So you can forget about putting any hashtags.
huh.
Because I posted a picture of my look in Asur. So I used hashtag Asur2, Asur2. So I was looking that up as a hashtag just to see does it make sense to use it. And they only have the top ones, and then they say filter. And when you go on filter, the top ones of the latest. They don't show you all the hashtags, all the pictures that are associated with that hashtag anymore. It's gone. Just forget about it. It's not happening anymore.
Well, at least you
Hmm.
figured that out, right? Like, it doesn't affect things. Now you'll have to find out something else that does affect your picture. But yeah, it's a constant game of figuring it out. I know that Twitter has this very opaque algorithm for itself. You will see, I think domain authority was considered based on page loading speed, on how old it is, all of those things. Now it is
Hmm.
so opaque. You will see things without a lot of views. You will see very new domains. They are posted before the older ones. They are posted, and their page loading speed may not be very good either. So it's very random sometimes. It's just you'll have to constantly figure out what gets
I
things.
found Twitter the only one that still gives me some authentic reach without them wanting to boost it with money or anything. Twitter is the one thing where I still feel like, because I feel it's Instagram, I might be shadow banned for some reason, or some people might have complained about me or anything. I know I'm just an actor, I don't do anything. Because the engagement goes down and down and down. And I had 2 days where it went through the roof, and then again it went down, and so like literally down. So I'm wondering why is that happening, but take it, it's not in our hands.
Right. My Twitter, maybe I have seen because I have lost follow. Like I gained 15 followers, 20 followers, and then suddenly my number's back to being the one without the 20 followers. I interact with people on DM on Twitter so much, like they're friends of mine, and suddenly I notice that I am no longer following them, so unke bhi followers are going. It was like, and one I had to follow Munib, who's a journalist. He's also been on this channel a couple of times. I had to follow him twice in 2 days, even though I was already following him. So times I was taken out as a follower. And I don't know, I suddenly noticed that, why am I not able to, there's something that was missing. And then I see,
That's
oh,
weird.
following him. Gokul Sahani, who's a geopolitics analyst, he's been on the channel a long time ago, but he's a friend, and he has very good takes on a lot of issues. I literally had to search for why he wasn't showing on my feed, and then I go and see I'm not following him, and I'm interacting on DM every single day with him, but I've just been taken out as a follower. So
That is interesting if you look at it. So I haven't had that experience at all, but I have the experience that I have to search for certain people because otherwise
right,
I don't see what they're
that's
posting, you know.
right. Yeah, you're not coming up on my timeline either a lot. Like I don't
I get
see.
the same people. I constantly get the same people. I get one who keeps on retweeting a lot of stuff, but I like her, so I just JLo it. Okay. But
Right,
it's abstract. I know I can understand that you can't show me the contact of 256 people,
sure.
but shouldn't you show me the content of the people who I interact with? If I go on their page, if I search for them, if I go and like it. Another
Right,
thing that always happens, just go and see the pinned tweet of anybody.
right, right.
You might have liked it before. You go again, you have to like it
Oh
again because the
yeah, yeah,
minute
yeah,
you leave from
absolutely.
that, it's gone.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is also that. A lot of things that I've liked, they just the likes disappear. So that's a good point. By the way, Twitter announced that they were starting the video content, and I think Tucker Carlson has also moved on to Twitter for videos. So I think they allow posting of 2 hour long videos. Is that something you're planning to try?
I don't know. Sometimes I take one of our videos and I put it on Twitter because they're saying that if you post YouTube links or something, they consider it spam. So what I started doing is I take a picture of the chat and I just put the link in the second tweet. So that works a little bit better.
Ah,
I don't know if I see myself posting longer content or any content specifically for Twitter.
right. I
Maybe,
think
I don't know.
it could be interesting just to see how the algorithm works there. But anyway, they have like a lot of control, and we have no control over how, organically we can go through, get to more people. So, one last question just before I let you go is what did you think about RRR winning something at the Oscars, not like
Music, this
yes,
song,
music,
this
but
song.
it wasn't really for the film, but it got recognized at a very large scale, on the global scale,
Music
right?
is very important. Music is very important for any
No, no,
movie.
it is, but I think a lot of the idea was that the story will be recognized or the actors will be recognized. It's
Yeah.
typically the actors who walk away with more glory and glamour rather than the music. I mean, and the music was very good. It's just for RRR, but it's good to have that global recognition for
Mm.
an Indian movie. So, what do you think of that? And what do you think of this new spate of Indian movies that is coming out with Kantara, Kashmir Files, RRR?
Yeah, just winning at the Oscars was a great thing. That everybody went there in Indian outfits and being completely representing the country like that. I found that amazing. I was very happy about that. Because that this movie did so well. It's great. It's amazing. It was goosebump. I mean, I couldn't stop tweeting about it. I was so excited for it. I could just imagine how everybody must have felt. I'm just upset with them that they didn't cast me.
Right.
Why did you have to take somebody from outside? I'm right here. But Tika, okay. So sometimes you don't know what's going on with casting. So
Right.
that's not on a lighter note. And I adored Kantara. I I thought usually what happens if it's a movie that is longer and in Hindi or South language or something like that with subtitles, then I need to take it in bits and pieces. I can't take the whole thing in one go. We watched this in one go. We watched this in one go, and I was spellbound. I Everything is in that movie. I was laughing, I was crying, I was scared. I was Everything happened. Every emotion that you want in a movie, this movie had. And watching it was like a revelation. It was just like, wow, this is possible. And these kinds of movies show it is possible. You don't have to do a formula. You don't have to copy West. You don't have to do something.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, just the same thing again, just to be on the safe side, or just take a movie from somewhere else and just make it in Hindi or something. You can explore. You can. These movies show that there's a way for different content, and even controversial educational content. Kerala Story, important. These movies have come out of other countries as well, and it was about time it was coming out of here as well. So I
Yeah.
think these kinds of movies, or Kashmir Files,
Yeah.
hats off. Yeah. Also a movie that was needed
Absolutely.
to be seen, needed to be shown. So that's where filmmaking becomes the art, where
Yeah.
filmmaking becomes more, where filmmaking goes into a sphere and opens doors or minds. So, or at least puts a discussion on the table.
Absolutely. No, because I already knew the stories, right? I grew up reading them, and for some reason, I seem to be the only one who knew these stories. I probably read more than a lot of other people had access to the internet, so I already knew these stories. So for me, it was very strange that it was so controversial to discuss
Yeah,
them, but
yeah,
that just shows how much control, some narratives have over others. And it was time that that control was sort of broken because all stories need to be told. And the same director has previously said how he has been forced to make those formulaic movies before, like literally take the usual suspects, cut it up scene by scene, tell the actor what role they would be playing, and then make chocolate. So
mm, yeah.
he's had to go through that process just to be accepted, just to work in cinema. And now there seems to be a requirement for new cinema that is rooted in the country, not a copy of something else. Not only an aspirational love story where people are living in massive mansions and the rest of us are thinking, how do they have no work in life? They're just chasing each other and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the story. So that's
I mean,
but
there's great content coming now. I was just thinking we were watching Asur, not because I'm in it, but just because it's really interesting. So we were watching that, and we didn't see one. We started immediately on the second one, and that can work. That you can definitely put an English subtitle under it or dub it or whatever. People will watch that in West,
absolutely.
and we will get something that is Indian and interesting and not a copy of somewhere else. And these things work because if you see other, like Korean dramas are working, they don't
Absolutely.
go, they have their own formula. So Indian drama can also work in foreign, in Western countries. Why not?
True. True. It's just not been attempted before. Like, I don't know how Kantara would translate, for example. I loved it, and for me, it was just. I thought Rishabh Shetty was touched by the gods. I have no other way of explaining how you can bring that on screen because I live in Karnataka, so I am aware of the of Bhutkola and all of these things. But to bring that on screen and make thousands of people understand or feel that way is just
And
amazing.
not
So
being preachy. It was not preachy.
it is not picturing her.
I was expecting something completely. I didn't expect something so entertaining and engrossing and interesting. I
Right.
didn't. And it
So,
was just, it's a masterpiece. Now I
right.
feel like watching it again.
Yeah, yeah, no, that always happens when I discuss Kantara as well. I'm probably just going to watch the last 20 minutes after we do this because it's something else. So, but yeah, I am glad that these movies are coming out and telling the stories. But I think you're right that it needs the subtitles and needs to be. How do you push these movies to an audience that is not Indian?
I don't know how are we ending up watching Casa de
Korean.
Papel? What is Money Heist? How are we ending up watching a Korean drama? How are we watching? We just watched an amazing Turkish TV show as well. It comes
Mm,
up in the recommendations. So as long as that is something that's inside, what I don't know how or who has to do something about it. That this is also happening as a recommendation in other countries.
mm,
This content is being shown because as
right.
long as other countries are only seeing the formulaic Bollywood stuff that comes out from here and is still hung up on the movies from the 1990s, then
Mm,
this is a little difficult. Yeah,
right. Right. I've
that
seen
has
the.
to happen on the level of these channels. That has to happen on a higher level. That is not
Mm,
something that we can do. But I know that Indian content is doing very well. Like my Ashok was sold and dubbed in so many countries. It has come in African countries. It is a big, huge hit in Indonesia. It was in Myanmar. It was going all the way up. I thought maybe one day it will even hit Korea or Japan because of Ashok and Buddhist, and so I was thinking it might go there. It didn't. But it's also a big hit in Armenia. So I think it's just a matter of countries being open for the content as well. Like Indonesia is very open to Indian content, super
right.
open.
Right.
So they
Yes.
keep on buying. I just had that chat with Rani on my channel,
Yes,
who
I
finds
saw
content.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
so she is like full on, and they believed in it. I think they had a hard time in the beginning making people understand that this might work, and it worked like a charm. So I think
Mm,
the same might be here. Some beginning problems, and then just trying to see what works there.
right. Well, that's been a very interesting conversation. There's a lot, I think, that the viewers would also not have known that goes on behind the scenes. Thank you so much for talking to me today, Suzanne. Thanks for being on the
It
channel.
was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.